check out Wrestling Travel. They're a great sponsor for us. They help us with so many different events, so many different traveling inquiries. They are the greatest. They've been seen at Starrcade, Warrior Wrestling, you name it. Wrestling Travel is one of the premier traveling organizations for pro athletes such as ourselves.
Good afternoon, everybody here in the UK. Good morning to everybody in the US. It's Danny here at Wrestling Travel for Wrestling episode 32, live on Facebook, YouTube, amongst others, and for the first time today, live on Twitch. So we're very excited about that today on Twitch there. Of course, I'm joined by some fantastic gentlemen, as always. We've got Justin Clapper from Wisconsin, U.S. representative for Wrestling Travel and the host of the Lockdown Sessions. We've got the Mad Dog, Mike Angus, UK ring announcer and commentator. We've got SP3 from Tru Heel Heat and Alex McCarthy's Wrestling Daily, and also Sports Kita. And we've got Joe Baiamonte for the first time, Wrestling Travel's head of media and content and socials as well. Fantastic lineup today. But we want to just, of course, first of all, pay our respects to Joseph Hudson, who you may know as the question mark on the NWA, sadly passing away. All our thoughts and prayers go out to his family and friends. I know I've seen many on Twitter today reaching out, speaking about Joseph today. So all of us at Wrestling Travel, we send our condolences. On a light note as well, it's a big happy birthday to the Nature Boy Ric Flair today. Woo! Sorry, I had to get that. Yeah, but happy birthday to the Nature Boy, celebrating his day today. But kicking off the Wrestling Travel podcast, it's become a routine for us now that we have a special guest kicking us off. Justin, would you be able to introduce our first guest on episode 32?
Yes, hey, we are very honored. A former guy that I had on the Lockdown session, and just an all-around, I mean, what hasn't he done? Please join me in welcoming Mr. Al Snow to our podcast.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Hey, Al.
Hey. Good to have you. Good to be on.
Al, good to have you on. Well, how's the weather like down there in Louisville?
Much right now. Today it's supposed to be up in the 60s here in Louisville, and I don't know what that is in centigrade. It's pretty warm in centigrade, so we'll be in the 60s today. It'll drop down into the 40s, but for the next few weeks, it's supposed to be in the 40s and 50s. So,
spring is on the way. I asked you that question, to be honest, because I never know how to pronounce Louisville. So
yeah,
correctly.
It's even the people that live here get some that say Louisville, then you have some that say it's Louisville, then you have some that say it's Louisville, and it's actually Louisville.
That's what I mean when somebody pronounces it like that.
Just Louisville. That's when you know you're a real native.
One of the things I wanted to start off with, because one of the reasons I really wanted to have you on, we're of course based in the UK, but the relationship that you've built up with Wrestle Merch Central, who are our good friends, I want to talk to you about how
Those guys are awesome. They're just fantastic too. I can't say enough about Dean and what a great guy he is, and how professional everyone there is, and they're great partners, really are.
You've got like a lot of things going on there. We got the OVW store, Al Snow merchandise, and then of course Collar and Elbow going on there, and that's
we're gonna whore everything that we can. We're gonna whore everything we can. That's it. Just whore it all out.
Yeah, that's what. How did that come about? Did Dean reach out? Did you reach out to Dean?
Dean reached out to my partner Rod Hicks and Chad Miller and Collar and Elbow, and then we got to talking, and he wanted to create a Collar and Elbow store, which is great because in the past we tried to collar and elbow shipped to the UK, and it's just so cost prohibitive because it's expensive on our end to then first ship it over, and then when people in the UK, the fans in the UK get the merchandise, they get the old value added tax slapped on to whatever they paid for it. And it's like, that's just way too expensive. It's too much. So we had to figure out a way to where we could circumnavigate that. And with the partnership with Wrestle Merch, with it being based directly there in the UK, and they put out the same quality shirts, and we give them the designs and everything. So it's just a direct link. It allows us to better serve the customers in the UK and Europe.
One small follow-up. I talked with Dean. He wanted me to ask, so I'm blaming this question on Dean. What is your favorite wrestling T-shirt of all time?
Favorite wrestling T-shirt of all time. I really like, not because it's collar and elbow, but I really like the original mirror tee, collar and elbow mirror tee, where it's collar up top and then elbow underneath, and those were the first ones we made. And there's the quality of the T-shirts were so comfortable, and I still wear them now. After so much time, they start to get look a little ratty because you put them through the washing machine and everything. But I don't care. I still wear them. Feel better now than they did when I first started.
Danny, go ahead if anybody else.
I'll ask Carl a question. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for joining us today on our wonderful podcast here. But of course, OVW, you're obviously heavily involved with that, which you can watch over here in the UK on Amazon Prime. In the future, when everything's obviously settled down, the world goes back to normal.
You can watch it. You can watch OVW on Sky Sports too, and on Sports International as well.
Wow.
And Roku as well too.
Fantastic. Many platforms.
And Amazon Fire. So
Great.
That's thanks to our partners Volt. They're based in the UK, and they've created Mark Busby has done a great job of creating outlets for our international fans to be able to watch OVW in a lot of different ways, a lot of different platforms. So we reach about 700 million homes worldwide now, thanks to Mark and his efforts. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's fantastic to hear that it's that everybody has access to watch it. Of course, I know I've seen it on Amazon Prime in the past when I've been searching on there. But in the future, when things sort of settle down, would there be a chance that OVW may come over to the UK at any time, or even yourself for like a speaking tour of any kind?
Well, I would love to come back to the UK. I've been over there, many times. It's almost to a degree like a second home because I've got a couple of affiliate schools, one in the Midlands, and then one down by London, Surrey, and they're both doing great. And the onset, when we were first creating those affiliates, I was over there at least once a month, maybe once every 2 months, where I was there for 2 weeks at a time. And my great friend Simon, my mate Simon, he's such a great guy, and I've got so many friends over there in the UK that I would love to come back myself, and hopefully here soon I'll be able to. But as far as the OVW tour, there's been talk, there's been conversations about bringing OVW to the UK and doing a tour sometime in the future once this wonderful pandemic passes and we can get to some semblance of normal life. Then by all means, we would love to come and do that.
No, that's absolutely fantastic. And certainly we look out for that and try and help as the best we can, of course. Joe, I know you have a question for Al. What have you got?
Yeah, I just want to switch gears slightly and talk about ECW, because obviously Al used to do some time there in the 90s. And we're coming up to that 20 years since it actually closed its doors in promotion. I just want to know really what your memories are of ECW, and if there's any stories you could share with us, and just really what made it such a unique place to work. ECW
was a great time, and I think it was the right thing at the right time for the right reason for the audience. It was, one of the first places I'd been in the locker room, and there was such a camaraderie among the boys. It really felt like Paul, everybody says Paul Heyman's a genius, and Paul Heyman is a genius in the sense of being able to manage people. And Paul did an amazing job of making not only us in the locker room, the wrestlers, but even the audience that came every week, made it feel like it was our place, and made it feel like we were against the two giants, WCW and WWE. And like we were all united, and we were rebelling against what the norm was, and that attitude, came across in everything we did, and it joined us together even that much more. And it was a great atmosphere. It was, the audience was as much a part of the show, quite honestly, as the wrestlers were back then. And it was an amazing time, and I'm really grateful that I had that chance to be a part of it, and be around, all of those amazing, talented wrestlers.
Cheers. Thanks for that. I was going to say that one of my favourite memories is Living Dangerously '98, when the ring was broke when you went into the main event, because I think Taz and Bam Bam had gone through the ring. And I think in the main event, like Chris Candido, Lance Storm, and Shane Douglas, and all the foam, the styrofoam heads got thrown in the ring, and then you had like the police tape across one corner of the ring. It was the most surreal main event I think I've ever seen, but it was great.
Yeah, it was fun. People don't realize those styrofoam heads actually hurt when you get hit with them. Somebody's throwing them. Those things actually hurt. I remember Francine and Sonny were in the ring with me, and they started throwing them in, Tammy, and they started screaming and like, oh my god, these hurt. What? Make them stop.
So I think we're going to throw it to Mad Dog. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, excellent. Yeah. Hi, Al. Absolute honour to speak to you today. I've been, a huge fan for a long time. I'm based over in Liverpool in the UK, so you've got a big fan base over here. I was going to say one of my favourite periods of your career was when you were involved in the hardcore championship scene in WWF. And I was going to say one of my favourite matches was the match I had with Bob Holly at St. Valentine's Day Massacre, when you guys ended up down in the Mississippi River. So I just absolutely loved that time in wrestling, and some of those matches were some of my favourites. So I just thought I'd ask you, what are your memories of that sort of time when you came up with such creative matches, fighting all over the arenas and everything? That was just awesome. What are your memories of that time period?
I just remember a lot of times I would show up at TV and they go, oh, you're going to have a hardcore match. And I go, okay. And then Gerald Briscoe would go figure it out. And I'd have to go walk around the building and start mapping out where we were going to go and what we were going to do. And I remember when the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, when we were in Memphis, at the building, I was outside. I was in a jacket. It was warm. It was a nice day, and I saw the river, and I'm like, maybe we'll do something and fight in the river. And I would always set things up as if they happened, great. If they didn't happen, nobody, who cares, So I'd try to plant things along the route that looked like they naturally belonged there and that we could use as weapons. And but I didn't take into account that it was still February. And that water was really, really cold, really deep, and it was moving really fast. And for a second, I thought I was going to drown. So I was glad to get out of it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that was absolutely great. And the commentary on that match, I think it was Michael Cole and the King. They build it up so well as you guys are heading towards the river and everything in that one. So that was an absolute favourite of mine. Yeah. And one other little question for you. I was lucky enough to be in university at Leeds University, and we used to come over and see a show at the Doncaster Dome. It was 1PW back in around 2007, and you were over with tagging with Blue Meanie at the time, which was great to see because you guys were top banter in the in like the Q&A and autograph signings beforehand. And I think at one of the shows I was at, you were wrestling against Southern Comfort, So with Tracy Smothers, rest in peace, and Chris Hamrick. So some great moments there at 1PW. Do you have any memories of that time period at all when you were over in the UK?
Oh yeah, it was a great, that was a wonderful trip, and had a lot of fun, working with Tracy. I always loved Tracy and Chris and Meanie, and that was also, I think, the one of the nights to work with Corino, and we purposely went as long as we could just to, until the crowd started to come, got with it, and this is awesome. It was like they're just going to keep putting the time in until we can make it work. So it was a lot of fun. I remember Sandman on the trip up. He was on the trip up from Philly to New Jersey. We're all going to meet New Jersey and fly over. And apparently he had watched some show where detectives would profile people, random people. So he was, of course, probably a little inebriated, a little worse for wear, on the train up. So he was doing it to random people, walking up and, yo, hey, let me profile you. So he walked up to some lady and was like, let me profile you. And she's like, what? Get away from me. And he's like, oh, I think you're a lawyer. And she goes, well, I think you're a drug addict. Now get away. So he was a mess. And then the last day after the last show, I remember we were walking out of the hotel in Doncaster, and he was down at the lobby naked, screaming at the person behind the desk about making him breakfast. So he's awesome. He's awesome. That was also the trip that who was it hit some kid hit Samoa Joe with a pillow because Hamrick had stirred up, and had started this thing where he was running around and hitting people. He'd soak the pillow with water, and you'd think you were just getting hit with a pillow, and it would be soaked full of water, so it was like getting hit with a rock. And so the Samoa Joe and a couple other guys were playing hard, and kid ran in, and Hamrick made it like he was going to run in too. He told the kid, let's both run in and, break up the card game. So the kid came in and waffled Joe, and Hamrick stayed by the door and didn't go in. And Joe jumped up out of the table and goozled him and took him out in the parking lot and was going to kill him. So, yeah.
I think I've actually read about that incident in a book over here, Al,
And I went to my room, and Hamrick brought up some girl to try to talk me out of my room, and I could look. Didn't know I could look through the door. I could look through the keyhole, and I could see that they were all out there waiting for me to come out, so that they could attack me with bullets. So for whatever reason in this room, the bathtub was right near where the door was, so I got a trash can and I started filling it full of water. And when I came out, I took and just threw the water on all of them, and they all took off and scattered. So
excellent. Oh, great stuff, Al. Brilliant. And I'll let SP3 ask you a question as well, so he doesn't miss out.
Yes, it's a pleasure to meet you, Al. I'm a big fan. I've been a fan of yours since Hardcore Heaven 1998, when I think you versed Shane Douglas for the fan. Honored to be talking to you.
You kind of broke up there for a minute, man. You're frozen. You look cute just sitting there smiling, but I can't hear anything.
That New York City internet there.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi. Let me jump in while we got a pause here, because I want to ask you. I'm from Wisconsin, so I want to ask. Cal Hero is down there now, and we saw Cal show up on Impact. So he's just, and I've known Cal, and I know he's a quality wrestler. But how does that training going for Cal, I guess, and all your recruits? Is that ongoing training school happening? And what do you see in the future for a kid like Cal?
Well, for the future, I see whatever Cal wants to make it. Listen, everybody asks, what's the potential for somebody? Well, guess what? Everybody has potential. You know, it's a matter of what they do with that potential. And I can tell you that Cal is willing to invest in himself and put in the time and the effort, you know, to make something out of himself and make himself a star. And you know, he's here to take advantage of that opportunity. He's in every class that we run. You know, he is at every show that we operate, and getting experience and making mistakes and, you know, learning as he goes. And you know, that's what's going to make the difference for him, is that he's willing to put in the work, you know. And because I tell everybody, if you want to live a life that others don't live, you got to be willing to do things that others don't do. That's just a fact. You can sit on the couch, make excuses and justifications like you want, and you know, and then it comes down to that. If you want something bad enough, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse, and he's finding a way. You know, he's learning, developing, and I'm really proud of what he's doing, and you know, just it's going to be all part of the process. So I'm really glad that he's doing it. And you know, I would encourage anyone to do the same thing, but too many people don't take the risk. They don't take that first step. They want to remain at home and make excuses and justifications. Say, well, if this happened or if that happened. Listen, if a frog had wings, he wouldn't bump his ass. So you can stop saying if, and at some point actually take action, and you'll start making things happen. And that's exactly what the kid's doing. So good for him, you know. And you know, the school's still, you know, we're still going, and you know, we're still the only accredited trade school for professional wrestling in the world. So, you know, we're taking a step to raise the level for wrestling everywhere, and for, you know, education and training of these young wrestlers, and set some standards, higher standards that will help to maybe set them up for a better opportunity for success for any chance that they ever get, and also for give them skills that once, you know, because it's not a matter of if their careers are going to come to an end in the ring, it's a matter of when they do. And when those careers come to an end, they'll have the skills that they can continue to make a living somehow, some way within the business of professional wrestling. So
Perfect. SB3, if your Wi-Fi is good, let's get your question in before we move on.
yeah,
Yes, yes,
y'all
yes.
rebooted the show, man.
Yes, I had to reboot here in New York, but an honor to meet you, Al. Huge fan of yours since your ECW days. I remember Hardcore Heaven '98 with all the styrofoam heads, you going against Shane Douglas. So you were like one of the key people that kind of worked between WWF and ECW at the time of their like partnership and alliance. How was it was that something that the roster were like aware of at the time, or something that they talked about? And how was like the experience kind of being in between the two companies during that time, you know, seeing as now we have the AEW, New Japan, Impact Wrestling alliance, kind of the talk of the wrestling world?
There was no conversation, there was no talk about that alliance. The reason that I went to ECW, quite honestly, is because I had a real bad attitude when I was in WWF. I pointed the finger and blamed everyone else except for myself. And when my contract came up, I tried to quit. I sent in my request for a release, and at the time they exercised their legal right to, you know, do a 1-year option, which they had, so they wouldn't allow me to leave and quit. And you know, which didn't make me happy, made me worse. And you know, there was a loose, as far as we knew, there was a loose affiliation, loose partnership with Paul and Vince, where Paul, you know, Vince was bringing Paul in, you know, bringing ECW in kind of as a brief, like they were invading Raw or something, invading WWE, WWF at the time. And Chris Candido, God bless him, was one of my great friends, and I was sitting in the stands talking to him, expressing that I knew I needed to go somewhere else. I could not stay in WWF, because I would stay in the same place I was always in. So I had to go someplace else so that he could see me as something else. I had to go make myself a star somewhere else. And you know, he went to Paul went to Bruce Pritchard, and they basically put me on for that year that I still had left on my contract to ECW. And as far as I knew, really, I primarily was the only one. They did occasionally with Matt Bloom. They brought him in once or twice. They tried with Doug Furness and Phil LaFon to kind of give to, loan them over to ECW Paul to work with them and develop them. I think Test showed up once or maybe only once or twice. But they were never there on a full-time basis. Only myself. I was the only one that was there. And I just always, we all just took it as if I was the one that, was loaned out simply to get me out of the locker room because I had a bad attitude. And we didn't find out until much later. But I found out earlier because Candido told me he used to accompany Paul to Vince's house so that when the writing team would leave, Paul and Chris would drive Paul and they would show up and Paul would come in and give his input on what the TV should be for WWE. And so there was much more of a partnership that was going on for a much longer time between Paul and Vince than any of us ever knew. So.
Thank you for that. That's insightful. I didn't know that before. So one more question for you, because I'm right now on my YouTube channel. We're kind of going back in time to the Monday Night Wars to the beginning. So we've we've seen you in the early portion as Leaf Cassidy, Shinobi, and Avatar. Were you making 3 paychecks at that time?
No. I wish. They should have named me I Don't Have Car instead of Avatar because I wasn't getting booked. So you got to understand that when I first signed my first WWF contract, it was totally different than what it is now. And in the sense that, there are no guarantees. And there really should not be. I mean, I'm going to get a lot of heat for this saying this, but there really should not be a guarantee. I did not start. The first person in wrestling that ever got really a guaranteed contract from Vince was Mark Marrow. And that was because WCW was giving out guaranteed contracts. And then Vince didn't give out a guaranteed contract. He gave out a downside guaranteed contract, meaning you'd make no less than a certain amount of money and you could make God knows what, with the opportunity that you had by being on the WWF TV, WE TV. My first contract was, and everybody's was, you were guaranteed 12 dates, which are all TV dates, because at that time they were doing TV on a monthly basis. And that was a 3 or 4 day run that they would do TV once a month. And you were guaranteed $100 for each of those days. Nothing more, nothing less. And then, your opportunity on TV was, that was your chance to sell yourself, to make yourself more valuable, to make more money. I think that the downside guarantee are great, but with everything, there's an upside and a downside, and the downside is for a lot of the talent, it takes the edge away. It makes them job scared, because now they have something to lose. So now the talent don't take chances that they used to take. You don't see a lot of moments that you used to see because they're afraid that they'll get quote unquote fired. And it's not possible to get fired in professional wrestling because you're never hired, because you're never an employee. It's a business relationship between the wrestler and the promoter. The promoter is investing in the wrestler as a product, putting them on TV, spending the money to produce that show, to use it as a commercial to sell that product, which is the wrestler. The wrestler now comes out, and it's his or her opportunity to sell themselves, to motivate you to have interest, to want to watch them, to pay to see them, to buy their merchandise. And, and then together, the promoter and the wrestler exploit that and, make money. The promoter does not make you a star. The wrestlers make themselves a star, and the promoter simply provides the platform to make that possible. And then the two together exploit that and make money together. So it's never a job. You're never an employee, and you're never entitled to anything just because you performed. That's the truth. That's the truth of the entertainment business. It's not just wrestling. That's music. That's acting. That's you name it. It's all based on how many people you can motivate to want to watch you do what you do. And if you can't motivate anybody to watch you do what you do, I don't care how good you are doing it. Trust me. I mean, I'm sure you guys all know plenty of amazing artists, a guitar or drums or that just blows you away. But you never see them anywhere because nobody pays to see them. And if people would pay to see them, you'd start seeing them in bigger areas and bigger platforms, and they'd get the acclaim that they deserve. It comes down to business. You know, yet that it's called the wrestling business for a reason, because it's a business, and that is driven by you being able to motivate someone to want you to see you do your job. Simple as that. And if you don't like it, don't do it. You know, go get a job. Go get a real job. Go get a regular job, because this is not a job. You cannot be fired. You know, you get released from WWE, everybody's like, oh my God, he got released from WWE. What's he going to do? Well, I'll tell you what he's going to do. If he was smart and he capitalized on the time he was in WWE, he still has a product he can sell everywhere in the world now. He still can make himself of value. You know, he can still have a career. Just because he's not going to be in WWE doesn't mean that he can't have a career and make a living. He just might not make much. But then he can always go back to WWE again if he makes him a draw. Look at Drew McIntyre. Look at Cody Rhodes. You know, everybody shit their pants when he quit. Oh my God, he's going to quit. What's he doing? And everybody got mad at me because I was like, good for him. Let him leave on his terms. Make his own choices. And now look where he's at. But that, again, it's a matter of you deciding to put in the work and do the things that you're supposed to do, and not thinking that you're owed something, you're entitled to it, or that somebody else is going to do it for you, because they ain't. It's just not going to happen. And that applies to life. That ain't just wrestling. So I'll get off my soapbox now. And I'm very proud of both, you know, Drew and especially Cody. Cody's is my kid from ground up. You know, I taught Cody from the very beginning, and I could not be more prouder of what he's done and the decisions he's made and the accomplishments, and you know where he's gone with his career. And that's all because of him. You know, that's his choice, that's his decision, and what he has done. You know, nobody's done that for Cody. You know, and Cody didn't get an easy pass just because he was Dusty Rhodes' son. Not when he came here, not when I trained him. You know, I saw what he had. I saw from the very first moment that Cody had something special in him, and you know, but it doesn't matter because, and you know, he's still got to earn it. He's still got to have those experiences to understand how to utilize whatever it is he has in him, and he did. He never hesitated. He never questioned. He never backed down from a challenge. You know, so good for him. You know, and good for all of them that do so.
Yeah.
Fantastic. On the heels of that, I want to.
You've got a great.
What's that?
Oh, Bad Dog.
Sorry,
Did you
Jay.
need to jump in? No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was just going to say, I love the current crop of talent you've got at OVW at the moment, Al. And who are your picks for the future there that you've got working for you? I managed to watch the Rumble show the other week. It was really enjoyable, and I spotted a couple of great talents. Omar Amir looks like a great superstar you've got there, and Hollywood Haley J and a couple of the others really stood out.
Yeah.
Who are your sort of big stars you've got coming out in the future from OVW that we can look out for in the UK?
Of all of them, you know, I quite honestly, I am doing everything I can to create a platform for them, and then now it is up to them to, you know, to make themselves stars every time they go out. I'm gonna do everything I can to write and book out the TV to where it creates an interesting story. It drives who they are as characters, and it motivates you to want to watch them as often as possible. And I'm going to put them in positions to step out there and on camera in front of an audience, and to now they need to work their magic. And it's totally up to them. And you're right. I mean, like Omar, Haley J, there are a lot of other standouts that are here, and you know, that are really Cal Hero. You know, they all have potential. It's just we'll have to see if they can make the most of it. And again, I don't make them a star. I wish I could. That'd make the job a lot easier, trust me, and I could make money a lot quicker. But unfortunately, I don't make any of these people a star. They make themselves stars. I do my utmost production wise, lighting wise, sound wise, everything I can do to make them look like a star when they come out to you, so that then they can make themselves stars, and you want to have an interest in watching on a regular basis. And I hope to God every single one of them go on to, bigger and better and greater things. That's I want everybody to understand that my goal, OVW is not a developmental territory anymore. OVW is legitimately a territory. It's an operational place. We, COVID passes, we'll go back to running weekly shows, live events that we do regionally, and we'll continue to produce television on a weekly basis. Outside of WWE and AEW, we're the only place, I believe, and I could be mistaken, but I think we're the only place on a weekly basis that a talent can get experience on a live television show without being in WWE or AEW. And that's an incredible thing that, these days. I purposely, not because I enjoy doing a live television show, because it is the longest hour of my life every single week. Look at how white my hair is turning. Stress is amazing, but for a talent who's never been on TV, it is an incredible opportunity for development and gaining experience before they're thrown in the deep end of the pool, showing up on NXT or WWE or AEW and going, oh, okay, here you go. Let's go out and you can be on live TV. Because performing on TV, period, even post-produced TV, is completely different than performing in just a live event. But performing on live TV is definitely a completely different experience than performing on TV at all. So you've got to have that experience and that understanding, so that when you do get an opportunity on a bigger platform, you can capitalize on it to your fullest extent. And that's why I took upon myself to go live on a weekly basis. It was not because I needed it for my stress, because I don't, but I do it for the talent, to give them that chance, and then have them to understand and have a relationship with what they do on TV directly affects attendance at those live events. What they do on TV directly affects pay-per-view buy rates. What they do on TV and how effectively they perform and make themselves stars directly affects, the merchandise sales at WrestleCentral.com. So, those all play a factor. And that ultimately, when you get brought in for WWE or you get brought in for AEW, you're not being brought in just because you're good, you're a great wrestler. Nobody cares about that. What they care about is, am I going to be able to make money with you? When you go out there on TV, am I going to be able to have you generate enough fans to watch you on a weekly basis that I can justify putting you on TV? Or do they just simply click the channel? I got to justify that when you walk out there, somebody's going to buy pay-per-view to see you. I got to justify that when you walk out there, that somebody's going to want to buy the network that we're building to see you. I've got to justify that when you walk out there, you're going to sell enough merch and licensing that now we both can make money together. Because otherwise, I've just rented a building, paid for to set everything up, and basically paid you for nothing, for you to just go out and have fun and play and get to be a wrestler. And that ain't this business. That ain't the business, boys and girls. So, and
excellent.
the
Thank you,
OVW, they get that experience. They get that understanding. I drive that home every day. They are there to do one thing, and that is to motivate people to pay to see them. I don't care what a star rating they get on their match. I don't care how many stars they get on their match. If nobody pays to see it, I could care less.
Perfect. I want to be respectful of your time, but I want to bring in one more gentleman here, our next special guest, and I know that you've got some history with him. Can we get an evaluation of this guy's time in OVW as we welcome our good friend, Mr. Franco Varga?
Oh no,
Franco.
Oh my
Hi,
God!
Franco.
I'm on the spot. What's up?
Hey, Franco.
I miss you. I was one of the people that
miss having you here.
I miss being there. Al taught me the thing that I use every day when I'm putting together a match now, and it's be the car. Remember that? We had a talk in your office. Is be the car. So I say that to myself every day, whether good or bad. Be the car. So yeah, I'm sitting here nodding my head. It's all about the business. All I think about is a business. You have to have nice gear and flashy things, and eventually do some oohs and ahs. But it's all about the business. Who's going to pay to see you? So yeah, Alex taught me and thousands of guys just that if anything, maximize your minutes. That's another thing that Al says that I say to myself all the time. Maximize your minutes. If you go out there for 8 minutes and you really put on some work and you're a superstar in 30 seconds, then you should have only got 30 seconds, not 8 minutes. Like especially with all the phones and all the stuff that we have, the attention spans is going down, down, down. So I got to get my big butt in gear within the first 3 minutes of a match. So learning TV at OVW was just I wouldn't change the world. So it's life changing. I don't know if I froze. I can't hear you. There we go.
I was muting my mic to try to help our audio. Sorry.
What are you doing?
I don't know. I tend to talk too much. So, how long were you with OVW? I mean, I know you're probably still with wrestle occasionally, but how long did you originally spend in OVW, Franco, with Al?
Yeah, so right before the pandemic, I was there for 6 months straight, and then I had I think it was my second trip to Japan where I almost got stuck. So yeah, I was there for about 6 months. Learned I think maybe 3 years worth of stuff in 6 months, and I was just one of those people that like I wish I could be that way. Where I don't think he sleeps. I don't think he sleeps like every. I try to find him like around the building, seeing if he's like finally taking a nap somewhere. No, he's always go, and he's always got the right answers. I just I hope I get there eventually. He's earned the gray hairs. I'll say that, but no, the guy's super knowledgeable, and no, he's always 100% go. He's always inviting everybody to if you got better ideas, come meet me at the Waffle House at 1 a.m. and will help me write TV. And it's very, very few guys that actually show up and actually kind of learn, and those are the things that everybody wants to be, Roman Reigns, John Cena, all these big names, until you figure out what those guys have to do. There is no sleep. There is no ever turning it off. There's no PlayStation 5 time when you're on that level. You know what I mean? So that's something I learned from Al. A lot of guys pick up from Al. Is just like I can only imagine on the big level is just you can't sleep, or else when you sleep you're not working, and there's constant work to be done. So
yeah, that's true. Vince will tell you all the time, sleep's the enemy. You go to sleep, people catch up on you. And it doesn't mean just laying down in
I
bed.
can imagine.
Going to sleep means you're not putting in doing what you need to do to make yourself successful, because ain't nobody going to come to you and do it for you. Nobody owes you anything. You're not entitled to nothing. You get what you earn. I think too many people think because the normal society is, hey, I wake up, I go to work, I'm entitled to get paid a certain rate. Whether I go in there and I give 100% for today, or I give 70, or I give 50%, well, I'm still entitled to that rate because I was in there. In businesses like professional wrestling or entertainment in general, you only make what you earn, and that's it. You've got to work hard in this business because you've got to be willing to do the things others don't do, to live a life that others don't live. And Franco was willing to do it. Franco drove from Baltimore, I think it was, all the way over to work on TV here and back again.
Philadelphia, what's that, 10 hours each way?
Philadelphia.
It was worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 hours each way. It was worth it, though. A lot of people, like, man, that's crazy. Why don't you fly there? I'm like, it's the business,
Yeah. I remember breaking in, and I would, I just had the conversation with somebody this morning about the fact that I would drive, me and a group of guys would drive out to Minneapolis to work for Varga, just to do TV. We'd drive 24 hours one way, then turn around and drive 24 hours back because we didn't want to spend the money to pay for a hotel. Or we'd drive to Windsor 8 hours and 8 hours back, or we'd drive to Missouri and work for Muchnick, or out to Kansas and work for Geiger down. And, we drive everywhere, and that's what you do when sometimes you didn't get paid. Sometimes you got paid very little, but that was because your name didn't really draw anything on the poster. So, but you got
Yeah.
your name out there, and you
Yeah.
learned.
Yeah. Cool OVW story for me. I did TV one of the nights, and then I'm driving back home. I was still in Kentucky, and I stopped at a TA rest stop. They have like the showers and all that. And the guy goes, "You were on OVW. And he obviously messed up my name. And I'm like, yeah, that's me." And he's like, "Cool, man. Like, what are you on?" I'm like, "I'm just gonna hit this gym and grab a shower and then hit the road." He's like, "Oh, just have a shower here on the house." I was like, "I'm a superstar now." So
That's awesome.
I got a free shower out of being on TV. That's amazing to me, quality top notch.
That's
The
it.
Ritz Carlton of bus stops, or
That's right.
trailer stops. So yeah. You're muted.
I'm muted again.
I think
I just the audio. I feel like I'm trying to help the audio.
Doing the job for the mic.
I know. Sorry, and then I'm trying to communicate with our head podcaster there, Danny. There, so I look like I'm not paying attention, but I am. Al, I know I promised you that I would just have you on for 20 minutes, so I don't want to. I feel like I've taken quite a bit advantage of your time.
All right. I've enjoyed it.
Cool. So we want to give you a chance here. Where can the fans, as always, where can we follow you, whether we're in the U.S. or the U.K.? I mean, we got a lot to push here because we really want to push the Wrestle Merch stuff over in the U.K., OVW here in the States, in the U.K. I feel like we're going to take 20 minutes just going over everything here as we end up and let you go on with your day. So
you can follow me at The Real Al Snow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I just put up a lot of silly jokes a lot of times. But I figure it's better to put up funny stuff than it is to put up half the stuff you see on social media anymore these days. So at The Real Al Snow, because there have been fakes, and if you do act as an imposter of me, I'm just going to message you and go, "Why don't you aim the bar higher? Like, be a different celebrity, like maybe Brad Pitt or somebody cool. I don't know what you're thinking. You're thinking maybe I'm down low enough on the food chain to where you can get underneath the radar. It's not gonna upset me. I'm just gonna wonder what you're thinking. But at The Real Al Snow, I've got all the little check marks and stuff now too, and fancy stuff. And if you want to go to Collar and Elbow, go to collarandelbowbrand.com. If you were in the UK, I would highly suggest go to Wrestle Merch Central. That is the official outlet for OVW merch. My merch, if you care to have one of those, and OVW merch as well. And you can get all of that there. And if you have any further interest in OVW, you can go to ovwrestling.com. And if you are interested in the Al Snow Wrestling, you can go to aswa.live. Keep in mind that if you're in the UK, the affiliate schools in Surrey and in the Midlands, Luke Houghton runs the one in the Midlands and does an awesome job. Terry Thatcher runs the one in Surrey. Both of I endorse highly, and they operate shows so that you can not only just learn to perform in the ring, but you'll also learn to actually work in the ring on live events in front of a real audience. So that is priceless. The experience that you is what you need. You don't just need to learn the skills, you need to have the experience to go along with it so that you can actually have real knowledge of what it is you're attempting to do. And other than that, guys, I hope everybody keeps watching OVW. You can find it on Roku, Amazon Fire, Amazon Prime in the UK. You can find it also on Sky Sports and on Sports International, and YouTube as well. You can find it there as well. And we're plugging away, and we love to hear everybody's feedback. Kind of lets us know if we're doing what we need to do, or if you're getting to understand the stories that we're telling. And I hope you enjoy it. And all the young men and women here are really, like Franco himself, are really investing in themselves and really, really making an effort and are trying to do everything they can to compete with all of the other organizations out there. So
Awesome. Al, thank you so much for your time. We can't tell you how much we appreciate it and putting up with us and our audio issues. Hopefully we can get you on again down the road, and we'll have everything fixed up. But awesome to talk about OVW, Al Snow, and Wrestle Merch Central. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And Franco, you stay safe, kid. Okay. We miss you over here.
You know, I'm just trying to figure it out. You got 1,000 things you still got to teach me. So
I
we'll link
understand.
up.
We'll be here. So whenever you do, let us know.
For sure.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
Al.
Take care.
Wow, sorry about that, guys. I was muting the audio, a little behind the scenes as everybody's watching live because we've got some interference.
You're making us look bad, and it's unforgivable. You know what I'm saying? It's unforgivable. I mean, what are you doing? What are you doing? Come on, Dan.
It was the biggest rookie mistake ever.
Ever. Yes. Yes.
So, Franco, thanks for. We're happy to have you on, and thanks for joining us while Al was on. I'm interrupting you. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I think you botching the button there was actually worth it to me because SP3's reaction was worth it. So it was awesome. So he was just like rookie. So it's all good. But no, yeah, thanks for having me, man. Al is one of the greatest minds in pro wrestling, you know. So I'm happy you guys got him on here. So he's awesome. Awesome guy.
Yeah, it was an honor that, you know, I've had him on the lockdown sessions, and I know a couple of these guys have probably interviewed Al before, but to have him come on our little podcast is fantastic. But the reason why we wanted to have you on here, we have you on from time to time, good friend of the show, whether you want to believe it or not, Franco. But you got a big show coming up this Sunday. First time ever. Is it the first time ever for the first time ever?
It's the first time ever for the first time ever. So be at the first time ever. I don't know. That never gets old. But yeah, no, thanks for reminding me. I almost forgot. This weekend, this Sunday, live on pay-per-view. You know, as much as I've heard that throughout the years, I'm now knowing how nerve-wracking it is to say live on pay-per-view and actually mean it. You know, the amount of work you got to put in to be live on pay-per-view. It takes a lot. So yeah, myself versus Suicide from TNA and Impact Wrestling and all that. So that's gonna be a match. A lot of people expecting me to win. I appreciate that, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. I know it's, you know, I'm not gonna say it's in the bag. So it is Suicide. I gotta say it. And, you know, I've seen a lot of his stuff, and the guy can move his butt. So we'll see. Definitely a match to watch for sure. We got Myron Reed from Major League Wrestling, a company that I no stranger to, of course, you know. So Major League Wrestling, and then he's going against Black to Jack, one of the just when you talk North Carolina, South Carolina, you got a top 10 guys ever, Black to Jack, you know. Plus, what a hell of a name, Black to Jack. So, but yeah, and then the whole thing's stacked. The whole thing is a stack, top to bottom. There's already rumors that there's a First Time Ever 2 and 3 and 4 and Dallas and all this. So, but we're gonna focus on the First Time Ever this Sunday. So yeah, pay-per-views are doing very well. I want to thank everybody involved. Title Match Wrestling. That network is insane. Cheap Hop Network. Just everybody at Superstar Productions. Man, I like to smash the mat. You guys. Of course, man, you guys have been all over this thing, so I do appreciate it. Yeah, even the Lexi Steele interview was awesome to watch. But yeah, you guys have been, you know, so I'll be nice. I won't come on here and call you guys all the nicknames I normally call you. So as much as I know, I'm sure. Is that
Do it
beard
behind
oil?
our back, please.
Beard oil in your beard? Is that still a thing? Should I get some?
You know,
This is a beard. I don't even want to hear it, guys. This is a beard. It counts. Everyone keeps telling me it's not a beard. It's not a soul patch. That was This is a beard. So it's my beard. But yeah, don't even look in the camera like it's there. It's a beard now.
Let me appreciate the kind word. You know, I'm like just talk bad about us behind our back like normal people do. I appreciate you coming up. But I wanted for the fans that might be just tuning in to keep it kind of the first time ever. This event is exactly what it says it is. You are putting matchups. So this will be the first time ever that particular wrestlers match up, and it seems like it's such a simple
Anywhere
concept,
in the
yet
world.
it's so cool.
It's actually tougher than it sounds. You know, I all six of us, when we sat down, I said, like, can we make this happen on a consistent basis? And we just couldn't. So now it's, at the most going to be a quarterly event. It's more of a showcase, so you won't really see like champions or like storylines past the first night, kind of like the one night storylines. We're okay with that, but like there's so many promotions that do the standard stuff so well. So like why try to give the fans more of that when we can just be a showcase show and be all first time ever matchups anywhere in the world. And there's, when we say anywhere in the world, doesn't mean that we're only gonna be doing these in the US. So but yeah, so when things open back up, expect to see us doing stuff a little, maybe on your guys' side of the pond, and then maybe I know we definitely explored the thought of doing one in Mexico. So so first time ever is not just a local thing. It's just the everyone's favorite beer, coronavirus. That's what's keeping us kind of in the area so that we're in. But we love the Carolinas anyway, and but yeah, so it's a slow process to build back up to being able to take first time ever all over the place. So
Just kidding. I'm on. I just want to make sure somebody else can get a question in here.
Dang it. That was good. That was actually pretty good. That was good.
Has he got a question or what? I've got a question. I'm looking forward to the show on Sunday. So it's at North Church Street, North Carolina. Lexi Steele versus Dream Girl Ellie. So obviously we've seen Dream Girl Ellie on AEW Dark, and we know Lexi Steele. We spoke to her a couple of weeks ago. She's been training hard for this one, so that should be an interesting contest. Another match I'd looked at was Colby Carino's going to be on the card as well. So that's Steve Carino's son, isn't it? I've seen a little bit of him before, and he's taking on Jake Hollister. So what can we expect from that match, Franco?
You're going to expect to see me go, man, I'm happy that I got to go on before that. Because it's going to be one of those matches where they're probably going to do every move they ever learned all at once in 12 minutes. No, but those two guys can definitely kick a face off of a person. So lots for a lot of kicks and a lot of super kicks and a lot of leg slapping action. But that's gonna be it's gonna be a good match for sure. Definitely one of the match of the night possibles. I mean, easily match of the night.
And I was going to ask as well. One other thing, Franco, was I noticed Shanghai Pierce on the card. Is that a?
Whoa! You saw that?
Yeah. Is that what's going on there? What's the story behind that?
So the legacy of Shanghai Pierce, I don't know if you guys know from like the WCW days and before that. So Shanghai Pierce has been passed down. This is the third person to play Shanghai Pierce. So the original, was passed down. It was actually a Japanese gimmick, and then it was passed down to the WCW version of Shanghai Pierce, and then it's passed down to the person currently playing Shanghai Pierce. So in order to become Shanghai Pierce, you have to beat Shanghai Pierce. So it's like one of those like legendary things. But no, this is the legacy. Shanghai Pierce is not the original. I know a lot of people are like, geez, he's still wrestling. Oh my God, like he's a senior citizen now. No, it's not him. I actually got to watch the transition of that, the actual him passing on the boots and everything, and it was pretty actually like really cool to see to be there live for that. But no, it's not the guy, but it's the gimmick, and it's like a tradition kind of thing. So yeah, so it's definitely kind of cool to keep that tradition going. Something I wish maybe like I wish Vader did before he passed on. Maybe like pick a successor for the Vader gimmick and think, yeah, that would have been awesome because there's so many big guys that look like him that could have used that. So.
Otis
so
on WWE would have been perfect.
Yeah, Otis, man, would have been perfect. Yeah, he's a little shorter than the original, but yeah, it would have worked, So, so I think that's a big thing in Mexico where they don't want to pass on and take the gimmick with them, which is why you see a lot of like Blue Demon Juniors and just LA Park now, you know, like La Parka, and then so like eventually they want hopefully their son to do it, but if not, there's always a successor in line for the gimmick itself. So it's like imagine doing wrestling for 30 years and then putting in all this work, and then something happens and you happen to pass on and people stop talking about you in that way. So it's kind of like it's a way of keeping you alive too. So it's I think it's awesome. You know, if I wore a mask, and I mean, let's be honest, my kid's probably not gonna be a wrestler. He comes to the shows and he's just like, whatever, dude. Like, there's no way that guy beats that guy. There's no way that this guy's like good. So he's not as into it as he used to, which happens to a lot of wrestlers, you know. But it just depends on the tradition of where you grow up. In Mexico, Japan, they have the tradition of everyone wears a mask. Everyone, you know, protects the gimmick. The gimmick always lives on. So Shanghai's one of those gimmicks.
Great, that's awesome.
Just following up on that. Wasn't there a wrestler in the Northeast within the last, I would say, 15, 20 years doing like a Vader gimmick called Big Slam? You guys remember that? Or am I showing my age?
It wasn't officially passed. It wasn't officially.
Yeah, it wasn't officially, but but he did the gimmick.
Like, that's fine. Like, that's a tribute. That's fine. It's just like any Pink Floyd tribute band. That's cool. But if Pink Floyd gave you the name, then it means a lot more. No offense to Pink Floyd tribute bands, I guess.
So, question for you, Franco.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, I was just gonna ask. You got Suicide coming up at First Time Ever. You've told us in the past you've come across Brian Cage. Are you becoming like an X Division champion hunter? Like you're gonna take out all the X Division champions that you can come across?
You know, someone just tagged me in a TJP post because he's looking for a challenge, and they're like, Franco Varga's almost beaten every X Division champion. Like, he's eventually gonna beat one of you guys and take the time. And it's like, yeah, I'm okay with that. You know, like, sure, you know, I'll be the guy who challenges and puts him to the limit, and then maybe, you know, but you know, spoiler alert, me going back to Impact Wrestling, probably not in the cards right now for me on my side of things. But no offense to them. I guess I gotta get better at doing that, right? I guess I gotta start saying no offense in the beginning. But no, that's not where I really want to be. But I definitely love to work with X Division guys. I mean, I feel like I fit in. I feel like a lot of people compare me to Samoa Joe when he was in that position to do that. So yeah, I love that division, and I feel like I'm not your standard big guy. I just finished the match last weekend with a moonsault, so it's like lion salt. So it's not your average big guy thing to see. Yeah, you know, don't tell my body that. My body sucks right now, but it is what it is. You know, after First Time Ever, there's a Pro Wrestling Expo. I don't know if you guys seen that. It's another interesting match that's floating around the Twitter world. It's myself versus Mysterious Q live on Fight TV, and that's another one. Everyone's just like, man, is he gonna just fight everyone who wears a mask? I'm like, geez, I guess I didn't realize. I don't have anything against masks, but I guess I didn't realize that's what I'm doing. So, but yeah, that's gonna be a big one in Dallas at the Pro Wrestling Expo #3. But yeah, it's that's another big match. So I don't know if you guys follow the Pro Wrestling Expo. It's gonna be another one of those huge things, just like First Time Ever. It's going to be another one of those big mid-major indies that everyone's talking about, especially by the next year.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I just want to jump in with the correction here because I can. Independent Wrestling Expo. If you're looking for that, sorry, I just gotta help you out, man, when I can.
Is it not pro wrestling? All right, never mind. I guess it's
March
Independent
13th,
Wrestling
SB3.
Expo, March 13th. Dallas, Fort Worth, live on Fight.
I'm applying for a job as your secretary right now, I guess. So back to SP3.
I appreciate it.
He's a great assistant. He's great at it. But I was I was gonna say, going into that with you versing a lot of people with masks, I think we just came up with the great heel gimmick for you, the anti-masker.
That's right. Maybe I should walk around. Maybe I should walk around pulling masks off of these wrestlers. Maybe that's what Maybe I'll start doing that on Sunday. So
Get the
to the
heat,
side, I'm
man.
coming for your mask. I'm coming for your mask.
You've
Because,
got to.
you know, I think I have to rip the entire suit to get to his mask. But I mean, I've been doing biceps for years, so let's put it to a test. You know. I think
You've got
my
to.
arms are the size of his legs, so I think I should be okay.
I was just going to say, you've got a Blanco Loco on the card, haven't you, this week? I've not had a chance to see too much of him. So, have you seen much of him before, Franco?
Yeah, just a little bit. Definitely should be another, like, as far as local guys go, like in that area. So, you know how independent wrestling, excuse me. See, caught myself. Independent wrestling has its pockets of darlings, and in that area, you know, those two, Victor Andrews and the Loco, in that pocket, in that Carolinas pocket, they're definitely darlings in that pocket for sure. So that's more of a, you know, for the Carolina fans, they already know who, and the point of the show is to expose them to like a just a world market, you know. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Victor Andrews in the UK next year, and when things open up. And congrats, by the way, I think June 21st is the big everyone's off of lockdown. Everyone, you can explore the pubs again. Is that right? Yeah,
That's what they've said. Yeah, if the roadmap goes well, that is. But yeah, I think a lot of people have built their hopes up. So yeah, it's going to be tough for them to derail that now, to be honest. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. It should be a fun day for sure.
Yeah, I got a few messages already from promoters over there and wanting to do things in the fall. And I'm like, there must have been some kind of announcement that I missed. So I went and looked it up. And yeah. So thank you, Boris. Thank you, Boris. We appreciate it over here. And I'm sure you guys are ready to go back to the pubs and being out and about. So I'm happy for you guys.
Release the beast.
Release the beast. You know, speaking of beast, there's another promotion that I'm super excited about that I just signed on to be, you know, an extended member of the roster. It's XWW here in the States. And when I say beast, I mean the first pay-per-view on Fight TV is Michael Elgin versus Brian Cage. I'm on the show too, but who cares? Because that's the main event, right? So those two guys, I've wrestled myself multiple times. I know what they can do to someone, trust me. So for them to go wrestle each other, it's going to be insane to watch. So that's another, it's crazy. And then they are running some periodic big shows at the Bojangles Arena, which is a football stadium. So for independent wrestling, that's pretty big. So I think the only one that does that is Warrior Wrestling, another friend of the show. So yeah, I think Corona forcing everyone outdoors is kind of a good thing for this promotion. It's they're adapting. So yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, Brian Cage, Michael Elgin, live on Fight TV, XWW. I'm excited. You know, I don't even care what I'm doing that night. I'm watching the main event. So. Man, you know, just thinking, I don't know if you guys got the chance to ask Al about just like how OVW and how stressful TV is and all that, but pay-per-views are, you know, maybe half of the stress. So like just listening to him talk about the stresses and all that, and then I'm just like sitting here listing off these things that I have coming up. I'm just like, man, that's still half of the stress of what running a TV show is. So yeah, so he's just a blessing to be around. Like literally, you sit here and you're like, man, just learning from the guys is a blessing. You just never know what you got till it's done, you know. So, again, we lost another brother in pro wrestling. I don't know if you guys saw the question mark passed away. So it's just see this. I don't know if you guys, but it's tough. It's been a tough year. We're trying to do everything to stay positive, but you know, a lot of the negative people are saying it's 2020 all over again. But I really hope it's not. So. But I just think if we just stay positive, keep going outside, keep well, not you guys, wait till June, but keep but keep going pro wrestling when it's available, man. I think we'll make it through this one. We'll be all right. So.
No, thank you very much, Franco, indeed. And of course, a huge good luck for the first time ever this week. And we're very happy, of course, to have you on again to discuss. And hopefully we'll, of course, get you on again in the near future. But before we let you go, just to give us one last plug, where can we find First Time Ever this weekend, and where can we find yourself on social media?
Yeah, so First Time Ever, you can any other social media at First Time Ever 3 R's, right? It's a show named after myself, at the biggest wrestler ever, 3 R's. So at First Time Ever anywhere, and then on Title Match Network on pay-per-view. Show starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there's 2 free matches on Facebook. Starts at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Sunday. And then, of course, at Franco Wrestles on any social media, even TikTok. I still can't believe I have one of those. And then FrancoVarga.com if you make it super simple. And then yeah, man, I just try to stay kind of as active as possible, without being annoying and being an influencer. You know what I mean? So I'm still a pro wrestler, not an influencer. So yeah, but yeah, no, I try to stay as busy as possible on there. Just follow me on there, and yeah, there's. The First Time Ever Dallas, I'm super happy to be working with companies like you guys, just bringing something different to the fans. Like I said, there's always going to be your Game Changer Wrestlings. There's your showcases, your IWTV showcases and things like that. First Time Ever it's a different experience. So we have some really, really, really big just First Time Ever matchups for Dallas already being planned. Man, I can't even say yet, but I'm just super excited for that. So I know you guys are going to be in Dallas. I'm going to be in Dallas. I have to be there now. But yeah, so it's another big announcement that everyone was super surprised at, because you're starting to see these Tampa Bay shows, and it's like we just came out of nowhere and said, yeah, well, we'll be in Dallas next year. So everyone was expecting us to go to Florida. We're just going to skip the whole damn deal this year. And but yeah, we're definitely going to Dallas. I will see you guys there. So.
No, absolutely. And Franco, thank you very much for joining us again, and we look forward to speaking to you very, very soon.
No, yeah, thanks for having me. I gotta ask, because it's been bothering me the whole time. I promised I said I wouldn't pick on you, but is that a bow tie? That's a bow tie, ain't it? Man, this guy's so dapper. Dapper Sheamus. My favorite guy. It looks like it's a bow tie. It's a bow tie. It's a bow tie like this. It's a beard. It is what it is.
Is it a beard?
It's a beard. I got oil and everything. It'll be long. Whatever. Anyway, thanks for having me on. You guys are awesome.
Great to see you, Franco.
Thanks, Franco. Good luck, buddy.
I shouldn't need that much luck, but I appreciate it.
Fine, gonna take some time, gonna make her mind.
Come and live the dream with Wrestling Travel.
I'm the man, I got the plan. When it hits the fan, do all I can, do all I
Yeah, fantastic there. Al Snow kicking off the show earlier there with some fantastic stories indeed. And Franco Varga, of course, kicking us off there with the First Time Ever event this weekend on Title Match Network. Of course, just want to apologize for anybody watching out there that's had any sort of issues with our audio. It seems to be a regular occurrence, unfortunately, with StreamYard that we use as our platform. So there will be a strong worded email, letter, whatever we can to find a solution to these audio issues, because I'm not having it anymore. But but moving on very, very swiftly from that, just want to read through some of the comments that we have before we move on to our next topic there. John Scott, of course, Power 4 TV, wishing us a good afternoon. Lewis Young, hi there. I believe Lewis is watching on Twitch, I believe, this afternoon. First time we are on Twitch with our Wrestling Travel podcast. Of course, Wrestle Merch Central, who we have been working with our brand new t-shirts. Of course, Stu's Wrestling podcast there, Mad Dog showing that off. And of course, Al Snow OVW as well. Joseph Ali, hello people. Hello, Joseph. And speaking of Stu, he's stripping wallpaper as we speak right now. So he can't come on the podcast, but he's stripping wallpaper.
That's better than last week when it was just simply stripping.
Stripper, yeah. I think wallpaper was a typing error there by Stewie.
I got a comment to read here. It's actually a response to what Al Snow said in the show. Cody Rhodes actually responded to what Al Snow said earlier in the show. He says, "This is accurate. He was extremely hard on me, and he worked my body/mind to the bone. He was and remains a brilliant coach. Forever grateful to him and Nightmare Danny Davis."
Wow, fantastic.
What did you have time to post that?
Tom Conahill of PW Torch is watching, so shouts out to him. He posted what Al Snow said about Cody on Twitter.
Fantastic.
Wrestling Travel get some type of credit in there?
Yes, we did.
We did. Oh, that's great.
I think Tom's put Wrestling Travel in there. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, fantastic and great to hear what Al said about Cody as well. Absolutely brilliant. What have we got here? Handsome set of chaps. Luke James straight from there. I'm not sure if he's watching the right show to make that comment.
I think he's watching Stewie's show at the stripping with the stage name wallpaper.
Yeah. We do have a comment from Tom who's looking to ask about who pitched the original Job Squad. I'm not. We obviously didn't get around to that asking Al, but hopefully we'll get him on again soon so we can ask some of these questions as well. WrestleMania Central, #head cheese. Fantastic there. Rob Brennan, hi all, and a big hi to Mike Mad Dog.
Hey Rob, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well.
We've got a message from Jake as well. We'll be okay. I'm watching WrestleMania 37 via the WWE Network, and I'll be going to WrestleMania 38 next year. And Jake is booked on with Wrestling Travel as well, so he'll be coming with us to Dallas next year. Devin Storm, Independent Wrestling Expo, will have a little something special in Dallas next year, WrestleMania week. We certainly look forward to that there. Wrestle Merch, what t-shirt is Mike wearing? It's Stu's, isn't it? Stu's Wrestling
It is. Brand new Stu's Wrestling Podcast t-shirt. This one's I believe this is the spring-summer edition from his collection. So, yeah, make sure to check that out on WrestleMania Central. And obviously, Stu would want me to mention that his most recent podcast is up with Myron Reed. So, yeah, great stuff there. So make sure to check that one out. And I think Myron's appearing the next week or two, isn't he? On which one's he on, JC? I'm
sure First Time Ever on Sunday.
That's it, yeah.
Blackness Jack versus Myron Reed. Yep.
Of course, yeah. So, yeah, check that out. Make sure to give that a listen.
Yeah, no, I'll soon be listening to that indeed. But before we get on to our first topic, which will go into the Elimination Chamber, we do have a giveaway winner to announce, of course, in association with Wrestling Trader. We posted a competition last week on our Twitter to give away an Orange Cassidy AEW Unrivaled figure, thanks to our great friends there at Wrestling Trader. And the winner of that competition is at Tom Doyle _. We will reach out to Tom to let him know that he has won that Orange Cassidy figure, so we can get that sent out to him very, very soon. So congratulations, Tom Doyle, at Tom Doyle _ for winning that today. And also, just to make everybody aware as well, if you've not seen it on our socials at all, our WrestleMania 39 packages for 2023 launch immediately following this podcast at 6 p.m. GMT and 1 p.m. Eastern over there in the States. very excited indeed. Anyone that did actually sign up to our First to Know emails are now able to book on, and we do have some that have already booked on for that trip. So, of course, you've got yourself in there first before they do go very fast indeed. But they'll be launching 6 p.m. WrestlingTravel.org, WrestlingTravel.org. All the links as well will be posted across our socials to secure your place in Los Angeles 2023. But let's speak of WWE, the Elimination Chamber, which happened, of course, on the WWE Network this past Sunday. I got a text during the event from Justin, which specifically said something big better happen at the end. It did, didn't it? We'll go to SP3 first of all. What was your thoughts on the Chamber? And, of course, Miz winning the WWE title, cashing in his Money in the Bank. SB3, are you there?
This is going well.
Snowstorm.
I think he hears you. He's just ignoring you, Danny, you know?
SP3?
I'm here with you. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, he's here. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts on the Elimination Chamber. I thought the SmackDown Elimination Chamber was the best match of the night. I mean, you had like the all-stars of 2008 through 2010, Ring of Honor in there with Cesaro, Danny O'Brien, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn, and they were kind of hold down the wrestling fort. It brought a lot of like different sequences that were really a lot of fun in the match, and I really enjoyed Cesaro's effort in like really standing out and being the MVP of the match, as well as Jey Uso and Danny O'Brien winning with what we got in the Roman Reigns match makes sense, because he's the man that, you know, wouldn't lose that much from the way that he lost to Roman Reigns. And I like the whole setup with Edge and Roman. It really got the show started off and really felt like it was on the road to WrestleMania with the main event being made. The main event stuff with the Raw Elimination Chamber was really well done as well. I thought it was perfectly booked as far as the eliminations and the final sequence with Sheamus, AJ Styles, and Drew McIntyre. That was well done. Bobby Lashley really getting the spotlight and really being booked like the destroyer that he's always has been, and that he really was in Impact Wrestling. That was what I really got from this pay-per-view the most. And I was really, you know, looking forward to WrestleMania with the WWE title picture for the first time since the whole build up to WrestleMania 37 after the show, with how they presented Bobby Lashley, and looks like he's going to be in that picture come WrestleMania 37. And I'm all for that. Miz winning, I'm somewhat in the middle on, to be honest. I am not too happy on it. If this was 3-4 years ago, I'd be stoked, because Miz was putting on consistent work and was the best promo in WWE and was arguably the top heel in WWE. And now we have just witnessed probably the worst year of the Miz's career. He's been in the worst segment on every single weekly show that I've seen, from Raw to SmackDown. And he's just been god awful. It wasn't until this past Monday and his promo after winning the WWE Championship that we got a really good Miz promo. But I felt like it's been years since we had a really great Miz promo like we did on Raw. So I'm in the middle. I get putting the title on him as a transitional point between McIntyre and Lashley to preserve their matchup for WrestleMania. But Miz as WWE champion doesn't excite me about the product.
Well, Justin, I can see you're pulling a face over there. You're looking like you're wanting to say something.
I'm enjoying the show. A guy can't smile. Look, I'm glad the Wi-Fi is working over there in New York City, so we can. Why do you do this to me every week, buddy? I thought we're friends. The best thing they could have done is put that on the most considered. I mean, his ring work is excellent. You can't deny it. He's going to go down in history as one of the greatest natural heels that we've had. I saw somebody on Facebook calling him an MJF knockoff. Now, I've been in the business since 1997. So 13 years after that, when they put the belt on in 2010, I'm watching wrestling. Like, I know how to watch wrestling, and I'm going, I freaking hate that guy. Like, I hate him. And then that slowly, like, that's because he's doing a freaking phenomenal job. And look at the way he carried everything through, like the talking smack.
He was doing a phenomenal job. He was.
Tell me about his ring work that sucks right now.
When was the last time he had a good or great match?
Well, define a great match to me. We'll get into that because it takes three people to tango.
One that you remember the following day. It's been so long since we saw a good to great Miz match that was actually remembered and talked about.
Well, talk to me about if we want to go tit for tat here. Can I say tit for tat on live radio? I can say tat. I know that, but look at what they've done. I'm not saying that you defend these guys, but look at what did Drew McIntyre do up until that. Look at Jinder Mahal is not a very good example, but look at their history of putting titles on people where it just comes out of nowhere. Look how they're booking. Kevin Owens is the flavor of the week. Now it's Cesaro. Now it's whatever else. That's WWE for you. And one of the guy that's been there for a long time doing it very well is The Miz. It's never been about in there like, what have you done for me lately? How long in this day of the internet and short TV matches, there is no long builds anymore for these. And maybe you guys can come up with an example and argue me, but there hasn't been a very long build into stuff in a number of years. I'm not going to say it hasn't happened in like 10 years, but in this where we live right now, there hasn't been this huge buildup of stuff going on.
Yes, there has. Drew McIntyre. The same one, Drew McIntyre. That was a big buildup. He had a great big build up to WrestleMania 36. It's not his fault that the pandemic happened.
How long was it? Well, it's not Miz's fault either. It
was 12 years in the make. It is the Miz's fault. He hasn't
12 years in the making.
He hasn't produced a good segment in well over a year. Name me a good Miz match, because I'm still waiting for you to answer that question, because you've been battling for about 5 minutes without answering that question.
Because I'm trying to get over all of your contradiction. You're telling me that Drew McIntyre is a nice 12-year buildup, but Miz hasn't done anything in the last year when Miz has been there consistently. Look at him with the Intercontinental title. Look at him with the 2010. Well, let's count Drew McIntyre. But you just told me Drew McIntyre has this 12-year buildup.
Yeah,
you're silly. You're being a silly goose.
He built up momentum until WrestleMania 36. I'm not being a silly goose.
My
I know the context.
But speaking of silly goose, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. You're talking about
the difference between Drew McIntyre and The Miz is that Drew McIntyre was having good matches. He was having good matches before he became the WWE champion. He was having good matches as the WWE champion. He's improved in the past year. His mic skills, his ability to communicate, his ability to come across with a babyface promo. He has not been The Miz, who has been in the worst segment on every single Raw and SmackDown for over a year. He's not The Miz that was in the main event of the worst drawing Monday Night Raw in 30 years. Since 1993, who was the heel in the main event of the worst drawing Raw of all time? That would be The Miz.
Let's throw all of that stuff on the shoulders of The Miz. Let's throw all of the booking and the writing and the storylines on his shoulder. But let's give Drew McIntyre credit for a 12-year buildup, including his run with the three-man band and everything else. But let's not, The Miz didn't have to build. The Miz should have had this belt on, I agree with you, in the middle of his bringing respect back to the Intercontinental title, the Workers title. You can't, but I'm not going down this path with you that it's a nice 12-year run with you. And you know what? I do love you. I do respect you. I love to argue. But we're not going to see eye to eye on this. I mean,
you're literally because this is now twice you've brought up the Intercontinental title run, not acknowledging the fact that this was 3 years ago, and not acknowledging the fact that I mentioned that at the beginning of my monologue. I mentioned that if this was 3-4 years ago, yes, the Miz deserved to be WWE champion, but it's not 2017. Justin, I know you wish it was 1987, but it's not 1987. It's not 2017. It's 2021, and the Miz should not be WWE champion.
Well, I implore you, if you ever get a chance to listen to this back, listen to what I said. I said I agree with you on the 3 to 4. But he has but you're giving one set of rules to Miz. You're giving another set of rules to Drew McIntyre. It's just it baffles me.
No, I'm not. I'm not giving a different set of rules to Drew McIntyre. The difference I told you the difference. The difference between Drew McIntyre and The Miz was before he got the WWE champion, he was having good to great matches. He was the star of one of the best Royal Rumbles that I've seen in the last couple of years. He had good to great matches with Dean Ambrose, with Seth Rollins, with Roman Reigns. Miz had good to great matches with them too. 3 or 4 years ago. It hasn't been in the past year, and he shouldn't be WWE champion. It's pretty much that simple. Like, I understand rewarding someone for their contributions over the years, but that's a lifetime achievement award. That's not a WWE championship run. And I'm sick of WWE rewarding people for what they did 3-4 years ago and not what they've done for them for the past year or the past 2 years.
So you're telling me I was at SummerSlam in Toronto in 2019. There was nobody in that building that looked at Drew McIntyre like, oh, this is a guy building up to be a WWE champion. So his buildup was the Royal Rumble to Tampa Bay. To that, it wasn't this 12-year-old or 12-year buildup. Nobody. And then we interviewed McIntyre. There was nobody there going, oh, this is the guy we were all respected him. And we hoped that this guy gets his just due.
Because WWE doesn't book like that. WWE doesn't book someone to have where a year before they win the title that you're looking at them as, oh, this guy's the WWE champion. WWE doesn't book like that. What are you talking about? WWE don't book like that.
This build-up was the typical Royal Rumble to WrestleMania build-up.
It was a 12-year journey. I said it was a 12-year journey because that's what the WWE told you when he was building up to WrestleMania. It was a steady build. He got success early on in his career. He had to get fired. He had to come back. It's all a part of his story and his character work. The Miz, I'm sorry, it hasn't been the story that he was really good 3 or 4 years ago. They've been trying to live off of that for the past 3 or 4 years, and I'm not with it. I don't forget that he was the sidekick to Shane McMahon in a SmackDown tag team title run. I don't forget that he's been in the worst segment on every single SmackDown and Raw for the past year. I don't forget the Miz TV with Bernard from Santa Claus playing Drew McIntyre and Gilbert playing Goldberg. I don't forget these things, Justin. You can have a short-term memory, but I don't.
Let me help you out here. Let me bail you out. You are not upset with The Miz or Drew McIntyre. You're just upset with creative and WWE in general, which you can't pin on either guy.
I haven't pinned it on any guy. I've said this from the very beginning. It's
you're blaming, The Miz was involved in the worst main event, the worst Raw.
I'm making the point that the booking is the reason why The Miz should not be WWE champion. That The Miz has been a part of all these bad segments. That The Miz has not had a good match. That The Miz has not even had a good promo. And he's supposed to be a promo guy. When was the last time anybody, if John Cena was here for a year, when was the last time you could say John Cena hasn't had a good promo or a good match in a year? You never could say that. Drew McIntyre, you can't say that. Let's go to AEW, Kenny Omega, John Moxley. You can't say that about either one of them. Guys below them, Ray Phoenix, Pac. You can't say that about any of them. Roman Reigns back on WWE, Seth Rollins. You can't say that about any of them. Miz is the only WWE champion or major champion in mainstream professional wrestling in over the past year that has been booked like crap before they won the title, thus making it fans like me is like, I don't take him seriously as the champion. He shouldn't be the champion right now.
One
Just to
final
interject,
question.
guys, before you bicker for any longer, do you think he's going to be a transitional champion then? Are you seeing him losing that title next week when he fights? He's taking on Bobby next week on Raw, isn't he? So do you think he's going to drop the belt straight away?
Yeah, I think he's nothing more than a transitional champion. I think Bobby Lashley needs to win the title on Monday. Will he? Most likely not, because that's how WWE books. They're setting this up blatantly for a disqualification type loss. And I get it because it sets up Fastlane's main event. So I get all these moves. I understand it. And that's why I said I'm not really anti Miz being WWE champion. I just can argue that side very well. I'm more in the middle because I understand why they did this, but I don't like it.
Not a fan of that then, no. JC, what do you think? Transitional champion, or is he going to hold it to Mania?
We can all guess and be internet bookers, but I have no idea. I have no idea what they're doing for that. The only time I saw this Miz thing happening was during the pay-per-view when they had the little sneak. They have to dumb us down and show us these little vignettes. But my last question for SP3: are we still friends?
We're always friends, JC. We're always friends, and no matter what, we disagree every single week, and we're still friends.
I can't wait to find that one thing that we agree on, and it's going to be bring harmony to the show. No, the truth is on that, everybody's predicting the Lashley thing, and they're using this term transitional, but everybody seems to be a genius on it. But sometimes they jump a step ahead of us, and that's what I'm hoping for this, that maybe they're a step ahead of us and something else happens. But they do this, and I'm not going to raise my voice, but SP3 on this, you're talking about him not having a good little run here before the title. But one of the things that I hate about it is not that, but like, look at what they did, Kevin Owens, then they bring in Cesaro, the stuff they've been doing with Randy Orton. Like, I do agree with you. I wish they could do the longer builds with these guys, because it's just, I don't know if it's the 50-50 booking, because I've not paid attention, but it seems like almost every other week when I get in there, they're pushing somebody to move. And somebody like Cesaro, Kevin Owens, there's plenty of other guys, even Randy. Randy's put a lot of stuff on his back. So I do agree that the inconsistencies or the consistent shitty booking of this really affects my like of WWE. But I gotta say, I love, look at my hat. I love seeing the title put on the Miz like that, because I think he's a great worker. And in the past, just so I can avoid any argument, I'll say in the past, great promo. I think he can get there again. I want peace, love, and harmony. There's too much in the world for us to argue online. We're chasing away both of our listeners. I don't want that to happen.
No, definitely not. But a fantastic discussion indeed about, obviously, the Miz, as Stewie mentioned there. Causes all sorts of feeling, whether you like him or you hate him. But another thing that was quite surprising this week, of course, we saw the big announcement yesterday of the Big Show, Paul White joining AEW. Mad Dog, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll just to throw one last thing in about the Elimination Chamber. I was quite surprised how short the pay-per-view was. It was only 2.5 hours. It started at 12 o'clock here in the UK, and it was finished by 2:30, which really surprised me, to be honest. I was expecting something else to happen. One thing we didn't discuss as well was the Women's Championship match that they just dropped off the card, which was a bit odd because they had built it up on the pre-show, and then it just didn't happen. So I thought that was a bit strange. But yeah, going on to AEW for this week, Paul White, the Big Show. I did not see that coming at all. That was a big surprise to read that. I've heard he was disappointed about how he was treated at Raw Legends Night. I remember Orton speaking to him in the corridor in the back. But yeah, I did not see the Big Show joining AEW. Obviously, he still feels he's got more to give to the business. He's joined, from what I heard, as a commentator for AEW's new show, the new Dark show, and also, but it is a wrestling contract as well. So you may see him involved in some matches. And at Legends Night, he looked in great shape, probably the best shape I've ever seen him in his career. To be fair, harking right back to when he was, the Giants in WCW. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how they use him in AEW and what happens next with that. So exciting times, guys. What did everyone think about that themselves?
SP3, what's your thought?
I thought this was a good move for AEW. Like, this is someone that WWE or fans would consider is the WWE lifer. This is someone that, would bring some disbelief that if they signed with AEW, and they were able to use this signing to kind of sneakily also announce that they're going to do a second AEW Dark show called Elevation, which is, this is a positive on many different levels, because the signing definitely solidifies that AEW is a presence in the wrestling world, and that performers from WWE, if they are unhappy with the way they're being treated with the biggest promotion, they have a viable option. It also credits AEW for the fact that they are able to keep things like this so quiet. Like, this is the second signing within like 2 or 3 months that this wasn't on anyone's radar, or if it was on anybody's radar, it wasn't loud enough to really make this not a surprise. And this is a real credit to their ability to kind of keep things, close to the vest. And then also it's going to help AEW Dark talent, as well as rising stars, as well as independent stars that they're giving opportunities to, and to give them another, platform on Mondays, which is really a wrestling night when you think about it for any professional wrestling fan. It's going to put eyes on that show, with Big Show being on commentary, which is going to put eyes on younger talent. So this is a thumbs up all across the board for AEW.
Absolutely. Justin, what about yourself? What was your thoughts on obviously that news just appearing on the timeline yesterday?
Yeah, I was blown away, because I was trying to think back to, like, I thought I just had seen the Big Show on WWE television. Looks like it was January 4th. So obviously this show that he's going to be on must be 90 days past that, I would assume, but I had no idea what the contract situation was. Somebody had mentioned, of course, hindsight's 2020, that he had been put in the alumni section. So it just, in this world where they seem to be signing every independent star that they can, it was just the WWE, which is awesome. It's surprising to me that they didn't try to keep one of their own, and maybe they did, and Big Show was just like, hey, I gotta go. But good on AEW. Looking forward to seeing what type of impact that he can have on their shows and stuff over there. So pretty cool to be a wrestling fan.
Definitely. And did he appear last night? What did he get up to anything last night?
No, they just shared more details on the whole signing and the announcement of AEW Dark Elevation. It's going to debut on Monday, March 15th at 7 p.m. And it's not a 90 days situation. He wasn't released from his contract. His contract expired last month. So you can immediately sign with a different promotion, because that's what Matt Hardy did, similar to him last year.
And I was thinking that it was a dispute or something going on, but I didn't. My bad. His contract expired, so therefore it's free to go. This Revelation, how long is this show supposed to run?
Elevation.
Not Elevation.
It's supposed to be 1 hour long, so from 7 to 8 p.m. So it could be like a nice little lead-in for fans to go watch Raw afterwards.
Makes good sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. If they time that well, but yeah, fascinating news indeed. It was one I certainly didn't expect, just to see the Big Show appear. Sort of signed a long-term deal, and I think, like we mentioned, the most surprising thing was seeing that he's going to be competing in the ring. I thought his days were over, but clearly not. Interested to see where that does take us there. Of course, with Big Show moving to AEW, we saw WWE announce their largest intake of the Performance Center recruits as well yesterday. Some fantastic names on that list, of course, including Taya Valkyrie. Of course, we knew about Priscilla Kelly and Elena Black, who's obviously now Corey Jade. But there's the one guy in there everybody's dubbing the next Brock Lesnar, you see. Maddo, what is that about? I saw it. He's only 19 as well, it seems.
Yeah, there's a couple of great recruits in there, but that gentleman there, Parker, his name is. I've seen him on Twitter quite a few times, mentioned in stuff saying he's the next big thing. So he certainly does have a look of Brock Lesnar about him, and he seems to be quite charismatic and talented. So yeah, I look forward to seeing what they do with him. Also, Harlem Bravado, who was a trainer at All Star Academy in the UK with Dean Allmark, great trainer that I worked with. He's been signed up in the latest batch of recruits, and he's an absolutely brilliant wrestler. So looking forward to what he gets to show on that big stage. And yeah, it'd be interesting times. Great to see some new recruits going in there, and congratulations to all of them who are going to get their chance to shine. So brilliant.
Yeah, definitely some fantastic names. Another one as well, Blake Christian as well. I know Justin's a big fan of his, seeing him at places like Warrior Wrestling. But SP3, obviously take on the new recruits.
It's a very exciting time for WWE. They're really on this signing spree, it seems, signing a whole bunch of talent from either Impact Wrestling, the independent world, or around the wrestling world. They're really doing a good job of getting like the particular talent that they want to bring in. And this is a good time to bring them in during, after WrestleMania is like kind of the reboot of the WWE season. So it's a good time to bring, a new crop of talent into the promotion. I think Taya Valkyrie is one that I am gonna wait and see. I never try to judge anything beforehand, but it just doesn't make sense for her to be in NXT. Like, she's just so talented. She's so main roster ready, and there's so many dream matches on the main roster. And the Raw and SmackDown kind of need female talent to kind of freshen up the scenes on both shows. So Taya Valkyrie would fit in so well that I don't see her really working as well on NXT, because NXT is very crowded when it comes to top female talent, whether that's Io Shirai, Candice LeRae, Toni Storm, Shotzi Blackheart, Ember Moon, Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai. They have so much female talent at the top that pitting Taya Valkyrie in, yes, it's going to bring a new fresh name in, but it's either going to hurt somebody, one of those names that I just mentioned, or it's gonna hurt her, where she's gonna be in the Kushida stage where she has to wait 2 years for a real opportunity on NXT. It just doesn't make sense to me. Everybody else, I think, are in the right place in their career where they can be beneficial to NXT. But Taya Valkyrie is the one that's just a little bit confusing to me. And as far as Parker Bordeaux, he's 22 years old. So he's probably the youngest out of all the new signees that are in the WWE Performance Center.
Fabulous indeed. And Justin, what was your obviously your take on them announcing their largest intake of recruits yesterday?
It's great. I mean, I love to see Bronson Rechsteiner in there, Parker, Taya, Blake, obviously his relationship with Elena Black, Cora Jade. But my bigger question is, as SP3 mentioned, this huge influx of talent over the past few months, what is going to happen post WrestleMania when it's typical for them to start dumping the talent and stuff like that, with AEW being competition and working with that? It'll be an interesting NFL-like off season, I believe, all that in quotes, once we start future endeavoring people. Because look at the people we lost, Gallows and Anderson, a lot of these guys that were guaranteed. And then the only thing that's guaranteed is nothing's guaranteed. So it will be interesting as they have to drop some of the, they're crowded with MSK, grizzled young veterans, all the influx of of talent. Will some of these guys go over to NXT UK? Where will it end up? But post WrestleMania, we got a couple weeks there where there's probably going to be some eyebrow raising cuts, or they keep them on since they're making a whole lot of money. Maybe they change their tune, but it's just that crowded, a lot of fish in a big pond there. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like you mentioned about Taya Valkyrie there, do you think her time on NXT will be very short term?
I can't predict. I mean, with her husband being on the main roster, I would imagine they would be quick to go on. The other thing is SP3, Mad Dog, maybe you guys can help me with this. I know they're not going to run house shows, but is NXT going to run house shows when we get back into normal? Because all of these guys, I mean, there's not enough TV for the amount of talent that they have on, especially currently. Well, if they're going to book it like they do, they could have Flavor of the Week going on, but I'm not sure. I think they announced that no more house shows. So it's great to be in the Performance Center. Everybody is learning to do stuff not in front of fans, but we need these guys need to be consistently in front of fans and entertaining to get the feel of the match. So I don't know if NXT will run some house shows in Florida. But to answer your question, I would say that they're gonna hopefully push for Taya to be up on the main roster with Morrison. Not with them as in a storyline, but just because they're together.
Yeah, no, certainly indeed. But we are just 10 minutes away from our package launch exclusively on WrestlingTravel.org. All the details are available now to view on WrestlingTravel.org, with the packages going on sale in just 9 minutes' time. Absolutely fantastic indeed. But yeah, I just want to give a quick shout out, of course, to some of our partners, of course, Wrestling Trader, where you can head over for your favorite wrestling action figures and memorabilia. That's wrestlingtrader.co.uk. Some fantastic exclusives on there. And I believe they've just had a recent shipment of some exclusive AEW figures that weren't previously available. So make sure you head on over there to get those. Of course, Wrestle Merch Central. We've discussed them fairly well today, of course, with the Wrestling Travel store on there. They've got Stu's Wrestling Podcast store on there, TNT Extreme Wrestling store on there. Of course, Al Snow, OVW as well, and Powered for TV. Of course, you can get 50% off your first month using the code TRAVEL to see plenty of exclusives on there, including some shows announced by the one and only Mad Dog Mike Angus, including TNT Extreme Wrestling, Tru Heel Heat, Stu's Wrestling Podcast, and of course, Wrestling Travel. But before we do wrap up, Justin, is there anything else that you would like to bring to the table?
I want to say you can follow me on Twitter at Clapper77. I got the TikTok thing going. JCATWT. It's been doing well. And I want to thank personally SP3, because after I've gotten a minute to calm down, you are absolutely right. I do wish it was 1987 again. So that made me feel very warm and fuzzy inside, because my AWA would be running pretty good. So no, thank you guys. Sorry for everybody that had to put up with me and SP3 arguing, but sometimes your friends argue the best.
Yeah, I guess so indeed. And Mad Dog Mike Angus, where can we find your stuff, and have you got anything coming up in the pipeline?
Yeah, guys, just to say, no, I thoroughly enjoyed the arguments. It was great fun. I would have got involved, but I was happy just hearing your opinions, and it's great to see. The Miz obviously has brought a lot out of you guys. So excellent stuff. The other things I wanted to mention that we didn't get a chance to chat about, I thought Jon Moxley's promo on AEW was excellent, really interesting, and I thought they did a great job of building up Revolution, which is going to be on March the 7th. That was great to see. Apollo Crews' work on SmackDown we didn't get to mention, but that was a really great bit of work, I thought, with him and Big E, how they set that up. Really thoroughly enjoyed that. So there's been some great wrestling again this week. announced this week as well as we're going to be released from lockdown. They've said hopefully on this roadmap from lockdown here in the UK on June 21st, and TNT Extreme has said to pencil into your diaries June 26th, where we're potentially going to be having Merseyside Massacre at Hangar 34. So get that in your diaries just in case. If we can run that show safely and with everything happening, we will do. And obviously I'll be there announcing that one for everyone. Look forward to it. You can catch me as always on Twitter at Angus Mad Dog, and on the Facebook and on the Instagram, Mike Mad Dog Angus. Just want to say thanks so much to you guys for having a great show today. It was brilliant to speak to Al Snow and Franco Varga. I thought that was such a good little interview at the start. Really enjoyed it. And, enjoy the wrestling this week, everybody. We'll be back next week to let you know what's going on next.
Fantastic stuff, Mad Dog. SP3, where can we find you? And have you got anything upcoming in the next few days?
Well, I got to push my 2 ongoing rivalries with Justin Clapper and my Wi-Fi on this show, so I'm very happy. You can follow me on Twitter at Tru Heel SP3. You can follow Tru Heel Heat. See, we point to the sign now over here because it's WrestleMania season. Tru Heel Heat on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You could subscribe to the YouTube channel. Daily content, including Tru Heel Heat 114, which always drops our weekly podcast on Saturdays. So definitely check that out. And you could find me over on Powered 4 TV with Tru Heel Heat, as well as Powered 4 SP3. We go live on Powered 4 TV's YouTube channel and Facebook every single Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. BST. You can find me on the Wrestling Daily YouTube channel every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. BST. And you could find me right here every Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. BST. And then you can find me tomorrow on Sportskeeda Wrestling's YouTube channel on Smack Talk, which is their post-show after SmackDown with Rick Ucchino.
Awesome stuff there. Fantastic things in the pipeline for everybody. Indeed. It has been another fantastic episode, of course, episode 32. As Mad Dog mentioned, very grateful that we got Al Snow on there as well for a quick chat, of course, about all things wrestling. And, of course, Franco Varga for the big show this weekend. First time ever on the Title Match Network. But WrestleMania 39 packages are going on sale in about 3 minutes, which means I am going to have to dash. So thank you, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you again next Thursday.